If you want to learn Vietnamese at university, then you can get a visa through them to study Vietnamese. Trust me, the only people who are angry about foreigners moving here are foreigners that can't move here because the locals love it. The foreigner population is never going to be as wealthy as the middle and upper class here because we're renting their apartments. They're making money off of us every month.
Sometimes when you're in Vietnam, you get the bill at a cafe or a restaurant and you go to pay, but the waiter points to a QR code. And if you've got a foreign card or you don't have a local bank account or you've completely run out of cash, what do? That's where our sponsor, Local Pay Wallet, comes in. Local Pay lets you pay by QR code on your phone anywhere in Vietnam, even if you don't have a local bank account. You can easily top up your Local Pay wallet with USDT and pay any regular Vietnamese QR code, and the payment will go straight through in VND. Simple as that. It's perfect if you're a digital nomad, a traveler, or you're living here long term, or you just want to skip the hassle of converting your crypto into cash, or you want to get away from those sneaky 3% card fees. Right now, it's only available in Vietnam and you can't withdraw cash yet, but they're expanding fast. I've tried it, my friends have tried it, and it's as easy and as simple as using a local bank account. So next time you're grabbing a coffee, dinner, or a grab ride, leave the card behind and just scan, pay, and go with Local Pay. Welcome back to another episode of Discover Vietnam, a Vietnam podcast with me, your host, Neil Mackay. I first came to Vietnam in 2015. It was a very, very different country back then. I came back in 2016 because I loved it so much and I thought I was going to be here for just 6 weeks. And that turned into 3 months, then 6 months, and then 1 year, then 5 years, and then now nearly 10 years later, I am still here. I started this podcast in 2019 because I wanted to get to know more about the people who lived here, whether they were expats, locals, or VQs, or whoever they were, maybe overseas as well, but all with one connection, and that is a connection to Vietnam. I've been so lucky to meet some amazing people over the years, and in this episode today, I'm sharing with you a story of someone who has actually been on this podcast before, and not many people get a repeat on this podcast, which I think is incredible. We've done over 350 episodes, and that is with minimal repeat guests. We first interviewed back in 2022 in my spare bedroom, and I listened back to the episode today, and I absolutely cringed because I made the number one cardinal sin of podcasting. Let me just check. It's red. I forgot to press record in the microphones. And so I had to use the audio from my iPhone at the time that we were recording with. And the audio was garbage. It was terrible. And it's crazy to think in 3 years, now I'm in Saigon Podcast Studio. We have 2 microphones. We have a technician. We have lighting. We have 3 cameras. It's incredible how far this podcast has come in 3 years. So thank you for coming along with me on that journey. So my guest today has a lot to share with us. He's not only been here for 6 years, he recently featured on CNBC, who also shared his story, and that video has now gone on to be viewed on just one channel over 1.4 million times. It's ended up in countless articles, some true, some not so true. We're going to find out a little bit more about that. And he also has been learning Vietnamese intensely, and we're going to put his Vietnamese to the test today. My guest today is Markeiz Ryan. Markeiz, thank you so much for coming back on Discover Vietnam.
Hey, yo, I had to come back, because last time the sound quality issues, I can't be represented that way. You know what I mean? I can't.
It was awful.
I know, but this sounds going to be better because we're in Saigon Podcast Studio. This is nice.
Do you know one of the cool things? I listened to our episode today. One of the coolest things was you could hear Biscuit snoring in the background, which we don't get Biscuit snoring in the background anymore, which that was really cute. At first, I don't think it was in the beginning of the episode, but as it went on, I was like, what's that noise? And I was like, and all I could hear was, oh, that's definitely Biscuit.
Quality podcast. Snoring is in the background.
So you told me in 2022, you were learning Vietnamese full time. You put me to shame.
Yes.
I think I know less Vietnamese now than I did 3 years ago.
How does that happen?
I don't know, to be honest,
okay.
But yeah, it's pretty bad. I'm actually not even joking. I think I do know less. Yeah, I think I try less. It's something we talked about back then, and it's the same today, is that when you try and speak Vietnamese to people and you had this challenge, they generally speak in English to you.
Yep.
And I think I've just given up now.
You gave up the fight,
yeah,
man.
I mean, even just like the other day, I went into a store and I said, Xin chào, and they went, hello. And I talked about this in the last podcast 3 years ago, and I'm like, I gave up. Like,
Can't give up, man. You gotta fight, man.
no, I gave up a long
Even
time
I have to
ago.
fight. I've seen Footbomp. He has to fight too.
Really?
Yeah. It doesn't matter how good you are in Vietnamese. They're going to respond in English. And you have to just keep, it's like a thumb wrestle or arm wrestle. You gotta just put like, I quit. You know?
Well, let's test your Vietnamese. We're going to do the same test that I gave you 3 years ago. I've given it to Mika Chu. I've given it to Nam Den. I've given it to many, many people on stage when I used to do comedy. And it's saying this sentence that I made up with my help of my colleague and friend at the time, Lê, that showcases how one word in Vietnam, N-A-M, can be said 9 different ways, I think it is, based on the inflection. So the sentence is, there was a man called Nam laying in bed holding 5 mushrooms for 5 years. So I'll say it again. There was a man called Nam laying in bed holding 5 mushrooms for 5 years.
Okay. Một năm tên là Nam. No, okay, one more time. Một năm tên Nam. Nam. Dương. Like, should I do it like the real literal, or should I only just say the Nams?
Say it in the real literal way.
Okay,
I think
okay.
the Nams will stand out anyway.
Okay. Có một năm tên Nam. Nam. Dương. Và Nam. Nấm. Việt Nam. Phải không? I mean, yeah, right? My brain already switched.
Not Vietnam, man called Nam.
There's a man called Nam holding or lying down in bed and holding 5 mushrooms.
For 5 years.
For 5 years?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were going to be like in the South or in Vietnam. Okay. So let me like do the signals. Okay, listen. First take, right. Có một nam tên là Nam. Nam, Dương và Nấm. Nam, Nấm. Khoảng Nam. God, I know that's horrible.
I absolutely love that you're doing the hand signals, the impressions, because the tiny bit of Vietnamese that I do speak, I have to do the same as well. You're like, even like chicken, I've got a chicken banh mi today, and I say, because naturally as a Scottish person, I think I go up.
All the time.
Right? Yeah,
you're...
So when I say ga, and ga goes down, right? So every time I kind of have to put my head down, I'm like, ga. Like I have to move down with it. But let's ask Technician Tay, how was Markeiz's Vietnamese? A 5.
a 5 out of 10.
Not out of 5. A 5 out of 10.
A 5 out of 5. I'm joking. No, but that is like the hardest sentence and it's so unnatural. Because some of the words you don't even use, like nam, I never use the grasp or hold.
Right.
I never say nam, which is like, all right, nam is a faster, nam, which is like lay down. And also mushrooms. I never talk about mushrooms. I think that's
You never get mushrooms?
No.
Mushrooms are deadly.
That's a sin.
Just normal mushrooms, no?
Just mushrooms by itself. Who eats? What am I, Mario? What do I
had
look like?
mushrooms for dinner last night. They were amazing. King oyster mushrooms. One last one for you though.
Yes.
Nipple.
I don't know. Oh, I think I know. No, it's like a chest knob. I think it's like, oh my God. Num. Oh, it's a chest button. Num vu.
I think it's just num.
Num.
What I've heard anyway. Right. Let's move into the episode because today we're going to talk about one thing I want to know, how you live here in Vietnam, right? We talked recently to Albert Lê about visas. And for me, I'm on my wife's visa. She's a teacher here. I could be through a company visa if I wanted as well. Lots of people are on different visas to live in Vietnam. And I think that's what a lot of people want to know about is not just you, but like, how do you live here if you're not from here? We're also going to talk about your video that went viral on CNBC and the blowback from that. And one of the things was you talked about the headline, the title was living off of $4,000 a month, which is apt because we've just done an episode about can you live off of $1,000 a month? And spoiler alert, the answer is no, you can't. So we're going to talk a bit about that as well and talk about are people like you and me driving up housing prices for locals. So let's cover it all. So first of all, visas. Let's talk about visas. How did you end up in Vietnam and what visa are you on currently?
Well, similar to your story, I was in the military. I got into some trouble and I was locked on base for 3 months and I got reduced pay for 3 months and a reduction in rank because I was 8 minutes late.
So I saw this on your video. Is that true? No exaggeration.
No exaggeration. But it's a little bit different. It's
Or
not
was
just
it like
being
your
late
fifth
to work.
warning?
No. Okay, so this is kind of I'll try to make it fast. It's a general order. It's an order straight from the general of the Air Force, and actually, no, I think of the entire Pacific Theater. So that's Japan, Korea. Basically, every soldier needs to be in a hotel or on base before 1 a.m. in the morning. If not, then it's a huge violation.
What were you out partying or whatever?
I was at language exchange learning Korean. So stupid. But you're there and it's like 12:30. Like, okay, I'm gonna get back home. I'm gonna get a taxi to my hotel near the downtown area. But all the taxi drivers are like, no American, no English. Sorry, you can't speak English. And you're just like, okay, better start sprinting. And the police were literally the military and Korean joint police were literally just following me, waiting for the time to expire.
Well, because they're the ones who report you.
Yes.
Huh?
But
They went like helping you. Like, I thought you were going to say they were like, we'll take you home.
No, that's not how they do. They just want to get bodies. So they're just kind of just tracking me. And then so I got caught like a minute after and I was charged at 8 minutes. So it was just dumb.
Wait, charged? Like they arrested you?
Yeah. I was in jail for like a day.
Wait, what?
Yeah, it's serious. So
my God.
So if you blend in with the locals or the teachers there, then you're good. You can keep partying all night if you want to. But if you have broad shoulders, a bald head, and just like that military look, you're cooked. So I knew I was going to be a target. And I saw them going past me once, going past me again. And they're basically just waiting, just passing me over and over again. Just like, checking, okay, we got one over here, one over there, and let's pick them up.
Oh my goodness. I mean, I heard you say on the video you're 8 minutes late, and I was like, I mean, it's probably been like his 10th warning or something like that.
No.
He's just sharing like the headline.
No, I never had an LOC, a LOR, any kind of infraction. Well, I had some LOCs, like just dumb things.
Nobody knows what an LOC is.
Oh, sorry.
Outside the military.
True. I've had like small infractions, like, I came to work a little late.
Yeah.
That's like normal. Those are
Right.
LOCs. But if you miss the base curfew, it's huge. Even if you're waiting in line and you got in line at 12:55 and it took more than 5 minutes for them to scan the IDs of people, anyone getting there at 1:01 or later is done. So usually people will be waiting in line, nervously looking at the watch, and just start sprinting off and hiding in the alleyways.
I mean, I used to work in a summer camp, and we had a curfew probably like 1 o'clock, and you were meant to get there 15 minutes before, but it was not as serious as that. Thankfully.
Military.
Yeah, well, that's a bit different to summer camp, right? So tell me, how did you end up from South Korea to Vietnam?
Oh, well, basically, I just I was locked on base 3 months.
Because of that, they locked you on base for 3 months?
3 months you can't leave base. 3 months you get half pay. Oh, yeah, 3 months. It was 6 months half pay. So you're basically losing 3 months of payment. And I forgot something else. Like mandatory alcohol classes, like mental health classes, because if you have one bit of alcohol in your blood and you get into trouble, boom, automatic 6 months of alcohol courses, mental health. So after that finally got lifted, I was like, I'm going to Vietnam. I need to escape. And I went to Hanoi, and my visa was wrong. I ended up getting to the airport, and they're just like, yeah, you can't get in.
What visa did you have?
I got an e-visa, but off a scam site or something. So I had to buy an emergency visa at the airport, and it cost like $5 million, like, what is that, $200 at the time?
Yeah.
And then I got my phone stolen by the taxi driver, and I was locked out, so I didn't have any way to contact my friends. It was basically the worst beginning.
Welcome to Vietnam.
But then like everything after that was just so fun.
That's awesome.
And then I came back and it was so fun. I was like, I got to move here.
You're talking about the e-visa. At the moment, does Vietnam have an e-visa? It does for some. It changes a lot. I know I am stupid. I don't know anything about anything.
Yes.
But it didn't used to, right? It's kind of changed. It's recent.
Now it's the e-visa again. It's 3 months. 3 months tourist visa.
But you don't get it at the gate, right? You have to get it before you come here.
Yes.
Because this is the thing. We've literally seen this happen, and I've read it online where people, because most countries around here, it's visa on arrival. And a lot of countries around the world, if you have a passport like British or Australian or American, it's visa on arrival, right? Because we're going to Europe for Christmas. I'm British, so I'm not part of Europe anymore. So I'm like, do I need to get visas? But apparently it's still like visa on arrival. It is a visa, but it's still, you just rock up. We've been at the gate coming home and seen people walk up, and you can tell by the immigration officer is like, pointing to them like, go over there. Because they've come from Thailand or wherever, not done the research, so it's all on them. They should know this. But they're just going by like everywhere's visa on arrival. And it's like, no, not here. And I've seen people post online, even this week, it was something like my dad's on a flight right now to Vietnam. And we've just found out he doesn't have a visa. Like, how does he get a visa for Vietnam? What's he going to do? And it's, it's going to cost you a bit of money, going to cost you a bit of time, which is a pain when you just want to walk into a country. But yeah.
You got to say, it does hurt a lot of people's first experience here in Vietnam. If they did
Not a lot of
research.
return tourists as well.
Yeah.
Vietnam is a big problem with not a lot of return tourists. And if you come here once and you've got that taste in your mouth, you're like, just going to go to Thailand.
And you can tell all your friends too. You're like, oh, yeah, this happened. But luckily, the rest of my trip went great. And I mean, I think now people are becoming more knowledgeable with it. You got AI, you have Google, you have all these things. So it's harder to mess that up.
But they still do. I saw it this week. Yeah, like literally, I think it was, people do it.
And also my friends too. Whenever my friends come here, I really have to stress it. If they just like, I'm on the way, I'm coming. I'm like, did you know about this? And they're like, no. And I'm like, get to it.
Well, the other thing as well is the whole thing where you can basically pay to skip the line.
Yeah, I did that a few times. Well, not like the illegal way.
No, it's completely legal. There's like services where you can pay extra. And we had a family come recently, my wife's uncle and aunt from Texas. We literally paid for it while they were mid-flight. Like, it's crazy. And you can pay, it's not even much, $20, $30. And because the immigration is so bad at the airport right now, always has been, I think, but it's gotten worse. It's crazy. You could just pay to skip the line.
I think it's finally getting better, though. I think it's.
You think so? I've not traveled in a few months now, so I don't know.
I mean, it will get better, but not right now. But I mean, I always still pay that $30, and then the agent will take you to the front, and I love that. It's like the business class kind of thing.
It's weird.
And I heard that even if you buy a business class ticket, like if you buy first class, I'm not sure. Don't quote me on this. And they're coming from overseas, then they get you that way.
It's included.
I think
that would make sense.
But you should double check.
Yeah. So what visa are you on now then?
Now I'm on student visa.
I've never heard of any foreigner being on a student visa.
Well, you're about to find out right now. So student visa, you need to be enrolled in a college. And there's a lot of colleges that do this, including the college that I went to learn Vietnamese with. So if you want to learn Vietnamese at University of Social Sciences and Humanities, then you can get a visa through them to study Vietnamese. And that's a lot cheaper than, say, doing the master's program that I'm doing. But also there's, RMIT doesn't do it anymore, which is sad. I mean, they do have student visas, but not for the military guys. And then you have Van Lang University who's working with the University of Hawaii. That's how I'm doing it. Yeah.
So because you're studying a master's, I saw on your video at CNBC. So your student visa here is for your master's degree.
Mm-hmm.
You're not doing like a separate.
No. It's student visa. It comes with it. They do it all for you. You do have to like give them a lot of information and stay in contact with them. But yeah, they get it all done for you. It's quite painless.
And so what are the restrictions or other restrictions with a student visa, time limit, things like this? I mean, I know in other countries, like maybe Australia, there's a time limit, or New Zealand when I lived there, this might not apply to you. Maybe it does. There's a limit. I think you could only work 20 hours a week on a student visa in Australia because it's to kind of make sure that people aren't just coming in on a student visa and then getting a full-time job. I'm sure people work under the table and whatnot, but other limitations like that.
I wasn't informed. I saw an article about...
in Vietnamese, which you still don't read. Is that what you're saying?
No, I do need to Google that. But I mean, I've only been on the student visa for about a month now. I just quit my job as a teacher about a month ago to do this student visa. But I saw the news where they're allowing students to do part-time jobs. But don't quote me again. That was just a news article, so it could be just something that's in the works.
So technically, on a student visa, are you allowed to work as a foreigner at all?
I think right now, no.
Right. So you have to be self-sufficient.
Yeah. But I mean, if you're military, then you're going to be getting paid that. There's school supplies expenses. Like they give you like, it could be $1,000 or it could be like $2,000 a month if you're military. So it depends on what kind of class you're going to, what kind of program it is. But the military bros, if you're watching this, then yeah, you get really good. You get really well taken care of if you go to school here in Vietnam.
Thanks again to our sponsor, Local Pay Wallet. Remember, if you want to avoid the hassle of having a local bank account, converting your crypto into cash, or you just want to avoid those pesky bank fees, then top up your Local Pay Wallet with USDT and you can scan any QR code in Vietnam and pay immediately in VND. Thank you again, Local Pay Wallet. We are really excited to partner with you. That takes us into what we're talking about with your recent video on CNBC. And it ties in nicely to what we talked about recently about can you live off of $1,000 a month? The headline, the video title for that was that you live off of $4,000 a month.
Yeah.
So is that true?
I mean, I earn /receive $4,000 a month, but I don't spend it all. That's insane. Could you imagine someone, like, I can't imagine it, unless if you have a villa by yourself and you have a lot of substance abuse problems, then that's the only way that you could blow $4,000 a month consistently.
As a single person, right? I mean, with the family, like, easy.
I mean, you could be a substance abusing father as well.
But I mean, like, you get schooling and a villa, how big a housing, all of that stuff. So we're talking about a single guy. I'm just doing the math. It would be about 104 million VND a month, $4,000.
Yeah, it's about 100 million a month. So
that would be a lot to go through.
The comment sections were outrageous, especially on the TikTok.
Go on. What are some of the comments?
Oh my God. Because TikTok basically, they translated everything into Vietnamese and they summarized a 7-minute video down to about 45 seconds. So everyone in the comment section was just like, only 100 million? Only? And they were going crazy. And I was like,
only?
Only 100. I was making it seem like, oh my God, like it only costs 100 million to live here.
Oh, they're being sarcastic, like only 100 million. Right.
They're just like, dude, like that's king stuff right there. But like, you got to be responsible with your money, and you shouldn't be looking at the present. You should be looking at the future.
Well, I think this is what we covered, right? So we're talking about people come on. It's just such a YouTube thing, a blogger thing, vlogger thing, whatever you want to call it. Like living on $1,000 a month here. I don't know why that figure is bandied about so much. I mean, we tapped into it. We used it, even though the answer was no, we still kind of tapped into that. Maybe nobody wants it anyway, but still we've tapped into that $1,000 a month thing. Yeah, you can, but we talked about what lifestyle do you want here. And there's also all those hidden costs as well, which us expats have. So what are some of your costs that probably people wouldn't expect to have? The point, I think, is people just think of Vietnam as cheap. And it is affordable. It's more affordable, 100%. I think I just read a stat. It's like 60% cheaper than the UK and the US. Crazy, right? And that, you're like, yeah, but it still costs money. Like that's still 40%. I talked about like my initial, when I first came to Southeast Asia 10, 12 years ago, in my mind, I just kind of thought of everything as being free. You know, even when it costs like $1 or $2, I was kind of like, oh yeah, shit, that adds up, you know? And you're like, oh no, it still costs money. I don't know why you just having your notion like it's free. It's not free. It still costs money. And there are still lots of things that you have to spend your money on.
Yes. I would say hidden costs would be just how things end up being a little bit more expensive for you because of the way that you assess them. So for example, if I live in Vinhome Central Park, everything around me is at least 50% more expensive just because of the area that I'm in. The vendors have to pay a lot more money in rent. A lot of those people are paying $3,000 a month to have their shop just in the area. So they need to jack up the prices just to cover that cost. So if you're living in a foreigner area, expect everything to be 50% higher than someone that lives in D1, D4, D5. So that's just alone is going to jack your price up.
And this is the thing, I think, when people think of Vietnam as cheap or affordable or this whole $1,000 a month thing, they're thinking of the D4 prices, the local areas, which, yeah, you're going to get everything super cheap. But this sounds so wanky, but you're not going to get a cappuccino. You're not going to get Western food. You're going to get local food at local prices, and you're going to get a local apartment, which we've lived in D4, which was across from a school, which woke us up at 6 o'clock every morning. Then there's a funeral at 3 in the morning going by the road. Then there's karaoke at like midnight. It's a crazy crazy experience. And so if you want to live on $1,000 a month, that's what you're going to get. If you want to live, and we call it an expat area or landmark, how many local people live there?
It's like more than 90% Vietnamese.
Yeah, right. I mean, I've lived in a big building. I've lived in big buildings, and you're like, all these beautiful cars in the parking lot are all driven by locals. All the people in this building are all locals. All these expensive dogs that you see are all owned by locals. So I just think it's such a misnomer when people just think of Vietnam as a cheap country. And
right. It's like there's huts everywhere. Like, no. I mean, and also that's the thing. Like the foreigner population is never going to be as wealthy as the middle and upper class here because we're renting their apartments. They're making money off of us every month. So do we own the apartments that we're renting out?
It's so weird that you brought that up. As I walked in the door of my apartment last night, and I've read this before, and it's a horrible thought. And I was like, so I've lived there 3 years, been here 10 years. And I was like, how much have I paid in rent to the landlord? Imagine if I owned this place. And I've read this before, like if you rent and you do the math, you're like, I've spent thousands and thousands of dollars on someone else's mortgage. Because, I mean, one, I've never really been in a position to pay a deposit anyway. But at the same time, here, you can't even own an apartment anyway. Or you can, but it's very, very difficult.
Right. I mean, sure, if you're married and then you buy an apartment, then you have it for what, 50 years? And sure, if you want to rent it out to somebody during the 50 years that you own it, that sounds like fun. Like, why would you even do that? It doesn't make any sense. So you're going to pay $1 million or $350,000 to rent it out to somebody for 20 years, and then you get it afterward. But then you can give it to your family, though. You can sell it to your family, and then that restarts in 50 years. But who does that? And it's tens of thousands of dollars that's just going into the community. And trust me, the only people who are angry about foreigners moving here are foreigners that can't move here, because the locals love it. Like, I mean, sure, they are getting more bang for their buck, and they have a reason to jack up the prices, because it does cost a little bit more to bring a foreigner in. You need to pay certain fees, and the amenities need to be like on point. You can't just be like, oh yeah, that's just Oscar the Rat there. He's really nice. You can't just have everything looking dingy. You need to upgrade and renovate and make it Western style living. So they're happy to have a luxury brand house, and we're happy to pay for it.
So what did you think then about CNBC using that full $1,000 a month stat? Were you kind of annoyed about that?
Yeah, very annoyed, because I had to give them pay slips.
What?
Yeah, it's mandatory. Because a lot of people, I guess, were lying and just like, I make $92 million a year, but they need to see proof of income. And so,
I mean, that makes sense. It's a legitimate media outlet. Like, we want to make sure our bases are covered on this.
Exactly. But, seeing that, I had to show them my teaching pay stubs. I had to show them my military income and the educational income, because I'm going to state that in the video. So every little thing that I said had to be proved. And that's where the 4,000 figure came from, because I really told them, like, hey, let's cut this in half. We can do 2,000, because that's all I'm really spending. But they're like, no, sir. Like, you need to prove everything. And yeah, it came out a little bit wonky, a little bit weird, but it is what it is.
Well, you mentioned, you spend 2,000 of it. I think there's this thing about that you're not allowed to save money. Like, you're meant to spend all of it. You're like, I'm allowed to save. Like, I'm an adult. I'm 35 years old. I should be saving for my future.
Because, I mean, if I want to move back to America one day, I need to be financially in that position. Like, I'm going to get my master's degree, and I want the option. Okay, do you want to move back or not? Living paycheck to paycheck is a very, I guess, really American thing right now.
It's crazy, the stats. In the UK as well, and I think Australia maybe as well, how many people are living paycheck to paycheck.
And people expect that as your lifestyle. They're like, oh, you make 4, you got to blow 4.
Yeah, right.
What savings? So I tried to break, when I was on punishment, when I got punished by the military, that was the first time I really sat there and said, wait a minute, I'm surviving off of half of my paycheck. I can do this for the rest of my life. Just make a paycheck and find a way to live off of 50% of it. And the only way I could have done that was moving to Vietnam. So that was just the mindset, was I can keep doing this, and then I can invest this. And that was another thing. In the video, I was like day trading. I don't even like day trade. I kind of swing traded.
Well, I saw it showed you the income you made from day trading. It was like $300 a month. It's like not much at all. It's like $10 a day. It's not like you're out there like doing big gambles and all of that stuff.
I would love to we had a 2-hour interview condensed into maybe 5 minutes, maybe 4 minutes of audio
7 minutes video I saw, yeah.
So I was explaining how I'm doing this just to learn how the market works. You're learning resistance and supply and support. You're learning, okay, when is the best time to buy stock long term, just by looking at how human behavior affects the stock market. That's what I was really doing. And that's what I kind of do. It's just fun. I'm not just out here being like GameStop, like YOLO on Doge. I'm not doing that,
So what has been some of the negativity about, I read a little bit about it, the backlash to the video, but about that thing of how do I say this? Like, I think there was the little sentiment I read of running away. Like you mentioned about it's expensive in America. And I mean, I know this, and I think I know that you know this. We're just so privileged and we're so lucky that we can come to Vietnam. Not everyone can. I think the article I read was like, not being snidey towards you, but kind of like, oh, he's saying like it's so amazing in Vietnam and it's so amazing. Not everyone can do that. And you're like, yeah, you're like, okay, not everyone can. I'm not here telling you that everyone needs to do this. I'm telling you my story, and my story is just my story.
I was contacted. I didn't submit this video to CNBC. I was contacted because of a small video I did on a small channel at the time, but he blew up since then. And they're like, wow, interesting story. This guy from New York, Mickey, the producer from CNBC, contacted me. I thought it was a scam. And I'm like,
That's
I'm
cool.
literally
That's
running
really
his
cool.
email address through a, like, what is it called? The servers, and saying, what server is this email coming from? His IP address, from like just
No way.
really paranoid because I'm about to send this
Yeah.
man my pay stubs.
Oh, it was at that point?
It was at that
Yeah,
point. I'm
wow.
like, I've never met this guy in real life. We haven't done a video call yet. Who does this guy think
Oh, you
he
haven't
is?
done a video call or anything? And he's
Nothing.
asking for pay stubs? That would be like red
Exactly.
flags. Like, no way.
So I was just like, and I was checking everything, but I was like, so he contacted me. I didn't want to put this information out there. I was really scared. I declined the interview multiple times. I was like, I don't want to put my information out there, especially with the people, the comments are saying like, oh, you're disabled military. You don't look disabled to me.
Oh, is that one of them as well?
Oh my God. Oh, and I'm also a communist, traitor to the American military that I'm going to such a communist country like Vietnam. Yeah. But yeah, you get that kind of stuff. And I wanted to avoid it, but I'm kind of glad I can tell the story and tell a lot of other soldiers like, hey, dude, there's other options. We feel like we are not qualified to do anything on the civilian side. After we get out, it's like, cool. You worked with dead bodies. Let's find you a good job at Burger King. Like, where can you work at that if you're doing mortuary, or if you're cleaning a air hangar, if you're defending an airplane all day long? You don't have a lot of jobs that you can do that make money that actually give you a good life. So a lot of soldiers are put in a situation where they had a brotherhood, a whole family, they had a purpose, they were ready to die for something, and then now you're putting fries in the bag. Or you got to go to college and you're 35 years old. It's such a weird situation when you get out of the military. So this video is kind of like, okay, I'm gonna do it for them. This is an option that you can take. You can move out there and find your purpose somewhere else.
And on that theme, even this podcast, I've been doing it for so long. I feel like I defend myself a lot. And I did a video a couple of years ago and I was sharing stories. I think it was of my top 10 bars or something like this. Bars, sorry, doing more American accent for you, bars. Any word with R in it. And as one of my friends said to me, he's like, you have to stop defending yourself so much. He's like, I listened to it and every recommendation you gave, you were like, but it's just my recommendation. Because I get really scared and nervous, and I don't know if you had that thing, you're putting your story out there and you have to be like, this is just my story. And I still feel like this, like even when we're talking, and I have to kind of say to people, because I know there'll be someone thinking, oh, you're just this foreigner that's taking advantage of living in Vietnam. And you're kind of like, well, I mean, I didn't plan to live here. It wasn't like I had a grand plan. I'm going to live in Vietnam because it's cheap. Came here, loved it, ended up staying. And it's a massive benefit that it is more affordable. I understand that. And I understand all the privilege that comes with it as well, but all the challenges at the same time as well. And I think about some of my friends growing up who've never changed bank accounts, never changed phone numbers, same thing all the time. And I'm like, do you know, I've done this like probably 10 times in my life. Do you know how many times I've changed bank accounts? Because I've lived in so many countries. Do you know how challenging it is living somewhere where you don't speak the language? The healthcare stuff, I'm lucky now it's good. But in the beginning, that healthcare was a big challenge. I had a back injury that I found really hard to get good treatment for. So there's so many challenges.
Oh, wait, you hurt your back, or what's up with
I
that?
slipped 2 discs in my back quite a few years ago. And
Doing what? Powerlifting?
I was lifting, but it's just, so I was only like 36, or just through degeneration. The report said just old age, basically.
Wait, how old are you right now?
43 now.
Jeez,
Yeah.
man, what kind of skincare are you on?
Not having kids. I hate to say it, but it's true. Like, I do have good genes. I do moisturize. I don't smoke. Don't drink much these days. I do eat healthy. There's all these good things. Like, I thought about making a reel about it. Like, I do this, I do that. These are all things I have. I get complimented. Mostly good genes. I mean, when I was 18, I looked 14, and it sucked because I wanted to go out and drink. Or even when I was 16, I had friends that looked older, and they would get into the pub and they would look at me and like 12. Yeah. So it's a bit of all of that, but I thought about making like a funny reel, like, you know, I don't smoke, work out, I drink collagen, blah, blah, blah. Last one, don't have kids. Like I mean, I see people who've had kids and before and after they look 10 years older.
Even the men, it looks like the men went through
That's what I mean, the man.
well.
That's what I mean, the man. Yeah, the man, because you don't sleep for like 3 years, you know, so.
It makes a man out of you.
That's the short answer to your question is my health routine. But one of the things I want to pick up on is the article that I read that was in reaction to your video. And one of the things that really angered me, and I hate it when I read stuff that is either purposefully misinformed or people make these comments on 15 seconds of TikTok and you're like, your comment doesn't even match what was talked about, or you're reacting to something. So either reacting to something because you're uninformed or reacting to something because you want to get a reaction, something like that. It really annoys me. And I got really angry today when I read this article, which was the headline. I mean, it was about your video. But what it said was that your video and you are a symptom of more and more foreigners coming to Vietnam and driving up house prices and making it more unaffordable for locals.
I wish they had that same energy for the Koreans, Japanese, and Chinese that make up maybe 90% of the foreigners here. You know, we have about 120,000, 150,000 foreigners in Vietnam total.
Yep, out of 100 million people.
100 million people.
So 0.15% are foreigners.
Can you imagine that?
And
that is a minority.
Yeah, it's not even economically possible.
Exactly. I mean, of course, there's exceptions in these little very foreign areas. But usually these places are built for like the foreigners to go there. They're like, hey, foreigners, move here. This is where we want you guys to congregate. And then the prices go up there. But it's not affecting the vast majority of the 10 million.
The other 99.85% of the population.
Like, let's be smart. And then, to be honest, the people that own the houses in these foreigner areas, now they're rich.
Yeah.
They own land in a place where the property value has multiplied maybe 100, maybe 200 times. And if you've seen Tao Dien, it is flooded all the time. It doesn't look like it's really structurally meant to be like a powerhouse city. So they bought this. This is like a field. I remember I saw a photo in like the 2000s, like 20 years ago, 25 years ago, what Tao Dien looked like. And it was literally just a field.
I live in Tan My Loy, which is An Phu, the other side of the highway. It was a swamp 15 years ago. Now my building is beautiful big building. There's Vista Verde, Feliz on Vista, Dragon, Diamond Island. There's all these buildings. Well, the thing about Vietnam, which maybe a lot of people don't realize as well, legally only 30% of those units can be owned by foreigners. So in Vietnam, foreigners can't buy land. They physically cannot buy land. Even a local can only buy it on a 50-year lease, so they don't own it because it is a communist country. A foreigner can buy a condo. I guess that's like a loophole because it's not on the land, I guess. But only legally, 2015 it came in, legally only 30% of those units can be sold to foreigners. So we just can't own land. We can't, and that's another thing people talk to me about living here long term. There's visa issues as well. It's hard to get a long-term visa or impossible to get a long-term visa. You can't buy a house here. Other countries, as a foreigner, you can buy a house, you can buy land, you can get a long-term visa, things like this. Vietnam, purposefully, I guess, at the moment, it may be changed, but makes it difficult for foreigners to live here. That's why there's only 0.15% of the population are foreigners.
Like, I think visually it irks people when they see a bunch of, European people frolicking and dancing in this foreign country and having a good time.
Yeah.
When their perception of Vietnam is like, it's still a jungle. It's a third world country. Like, literally downstairs is like a bank. Everything you need is literally on the street. It is so convenient here. They're in the future. Our Wi-Fi works great. This is not a third world country anymore, but people assume that we're just moving to this jungle and just exploiting this place. But that's their own ignorance about what this country is and what it's grown to be. It's very modern. It looks a lot better than the town I was in America, like Cheyenne, Wyoming. That's a third world country. Jeez.
And I think it leads to people like ourselves defending ourselves. And we do and we don't have to, but overall, you've made an amazing life here. The video is great. You're not spending $4,000 a month, and also it's this thing that you're kind of made to feel guilty that you make this money, and you're like, do you know there's lots of other people that make the same or more? I see some of the cars go by, and I just want to be like, what do you do for work that you drive this BMW sports car that is fucking beautiful.
I outed myself as one of the poorest people in my building. I live in Vin Homes. I literally just outed myself.
Does one of your neighbors came up like, here's a check, sorry, I didn't realize you were so
Oh
poor.
my God, he's from America.
Yeah, right.
My neighbors own like multiple apartments in that building, so they're multi-millionaires. I think anyone that owns an apartment in that area has at least $1 million now, because all of them are valued over $1 million. So I am not a millionaire, not even 100,000 there, in a building full of millionaires, in a complex full of Vietnamese millionaires, and you're telling me I'm the problem? No.
I'm gonna do that thing where I'm then gonna get worried and defend and say something to make it better. We understand who we are. We understand we're privileged. I think if you're listening to this podcast, you know that already. I'm just worried that a soundbite of this will get posted on TikTok and they're going to be like, look at those two foreigners just living it up here. I understand. Markeiz understands. There's poverty here. There's poor people. There's lots of people that don't make that money. Not everyone is driving around in Ferraris. There are lots of people, but not everyone is. There's inequality here as well. There's problems here like every country in the world. Vietnam is not perfect. And even as a foreigner, there's loads of challenges of living overseas, living in a different country, whether it's just being able to transfer money or find healthcare or open a bank account, or even like last week, there was a problem with my mobile phone. And this is on me. I don't speak the language. I know this. I understand it's on me. But then trying to get that problem fixed just took a little bit more extra effort than it would have back home. So things like this. But overall, Vietnam is an amazing country to build a life. And that was the point of your video, right?
Yeah, that was the whole point. It was, I didn't want it to be some Anthony Bourdain, like, look at me, I'm eating noodles and it cost me 30 cents the whole time. I wanted to show like Vietnam has changed. Vietnam is modernized, and Vietnam is a threat out here in Southeast Asia. Like, they're coming up quickly, and they're making all these old giants of Southeast Asia look a little outdated. Like, they're doing big things here. And I wanted to show that, hey, this isn't a vacation. Like, I live here now. I have nothing to escape from. I'm not moving around. It feels like home. And anytime I leave it, I feel horrible. When I was in Thailand, great gym. Outside of that, I just did not feel comfortable like I used to in Thailand. And it's weird. If you come here, you'll figure it out. You'll figure it out.
You got to leave every now and again, but you always want to come back. I was talking with someone last night and she's leaving Vietnam. I don't know why she's leaving, but it was the last time I was going to see her. I said to her, I'll see you again soon. I know you'll be back. And she went, do you know what? I think I might be back.
Boomerang. We call this the Boomerang City. Everyone leaves. They all left for COVID. They came right back. Everyone leaves like, oh man, I can't do it anymore. I hate teaching kids. They go back to America and they're like, you know what? Those children in Vietnam aren't so bad.
Markeiz, this has been amazing. Thank you so much for coming back on Discover Vietnam. I've absolutely loved it and loved sharing your story. Thank you for listening. You know I appreciate it so much. Don't forget, rate, review, subscribe, and best of all, share this podcast with someone else who wants to learn more about Vietnam. Markeiz, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Cheers.